Today I am finally going to open my Holbein Palm Box 36 watercolor set. And if you're like me, I don't read Japanese, so here is a Google translated image of the back of the box. You can see a little bit more information about it there. And this looks like a color chart of all of their colors. Thankfully, there is also English on this information sheet. I like that cube on the left-hand side. I might have to look for that one later. It also comes with this 36 color sheet, matching the colors in the box. I don't think I'm going to use that because it's an off-white and it's a little bit of a lighter weight paper than I typically paint with. And as you can see, the lid attracts fingerprints pretty badly, so if that drives you crazy, you might not like this palm box. All of the colors are individually wrapped very beautifully, and it comes with a travel brush as well. Let's open this up and take a look at it. It doesn't have the size marked on either end or the side. It feels like a natural hair brush. It didn't say on the box what type of brush it is, whether it's natural hair or synthetic, but it looks to be about like a size 6 to me. I'm anxious to open the watercolors, but let's see what's behind the palette on the back. Nothing behind it, but the edges on it allow you to attach it to either side of the box, and I think it'll actually fit on the front as well too. Let's give that a try. Yeah, it fits. And since both sides are the same, you can flip it around and attach it. That's great. You can do the same on the sides, except you just can't attach the long side to the short side of the palm box. And it also said on the back of the box you can use the back as an easel. So let's see what kind of paper you could put back there size wise. So it looks like it's about 3.5 inches high, and you could fit probably about, well, comfortably 5.5, maybe 5 3/4. And there's a little bit of a recess on the palette as well, so you could possibly put some watercolor paper behind it as storage. We'll check that out in a bit. These watercolors are sealed quite nicely. It's a little bit tricky for me to get them open, so I think I'll be doing this off camera. How about we try and see if we can fit some watercolor paper behind that palette? I've got these small pieces to see how many we could layer up behind there. Behind the palette we have a dimension restriction on the size, so it's 5 1/4 by about 3 1/4. So you could probably hold sheets up to that size in the bag. Now I don't know how many we could put behind there, so let's give it a try. I've got 4. Let's see if we put 4 back there, if it'll fit back on. Ah, success. I think 4 is good. I don't know that 5 would fit though. It's pretty shallow, but that's enough if you're going out for maybe a short plein air trip or urban sketching. You could put 4 back there, or you could even have them as emergency supplies, I suppose, and have your paper stored elsewhere. Okay, I finally have them all unwrapped. It took a little while, but once you peel back the first little bit, there is, for some reason in English, it says pull, and when you pull that piece, it pulls the entire wrapper off of the watercolor paint, so it's not that bad. But I feel bad for anybody who doesn't have fingernails to kind of get that initial peel back of the cover of the watercolor paint. It's a little tricky. I've created a color chart here, and I want to mention I rearranged all of the colors into a way that I typically use my palette, and that's going from white to yellow to orange to red, purple, blue, green, and then natural colors. So it's not the same as it is when you first open the palm box. They are completely rearranged. And I've also added a little black square in each spot so we can see how transparent or opaque each of the paints are. I will leave you here to watch the swatching if you want to. If not, you can skip ahead and we'll talk about how the watercolors look. Here they are, all dried, and they look beautiful. I feel like there are 3 reds there that are too similar in appearance that I would want to keep them in this palette. The permanent alizarin crimson, naphthol red, and carmine. I feel like only one of them would probably be necessary. Otherwise, I think there's a good range of colors in here that I can work with. I wanted to show you what I was starting to feel when I was working with them, even in the swatches. There is a lot of movement with the pigment on these paints in water. So I'm adding a really big clear water wash across this page, and I want to show you the movement of this paint. It is incredible. Although it's hard to see the yellow on the white paper, you can get a sense of that pigment dispersion with the red. It just explodes. As soon as the watercolor touches a wet wash, it moves quite a bit and very quickly. So if you're a watercolor artist that likes paint that you have a lot of control over, I don't know that Holbein's paints are going to work for you, but if you are a watercolor artist that really likes the excitement and movement of watercolor, and that's one of its qualities that excites you when it comes to painting, then I really recommend you try Holbein watercolor paints and see what you think. They do mix on the paper, but I find that I was getting better results mixing on my palette and then taking the mixed paint onto the paper. And of course I need to add some water by spraying to see how it reacts. See if we can get the colors to mix a little bit on the paper. Well, that looks pretty good, and then I'm going to add some table salt to see how the watercolor paint reacts to that. I can see it's already reacting, which is amazing. It normally doesn't have results that quickly. And now we'll just let it dry and we'll come back to it and see how it looks. Wow, just wow. I don't think I've ever seen watercolors react this strongly to table salt. I think I'm gonna love working with these paints. This palette is definitely a keep for me. I find though that it's a bit heavy. It may not be suitable for all kinds of traveling. The magnets will keep the watercolor paints in place, which is really nice. And I created a little painting to try this set out. Now keep in mind the background here is Masha's watercolors, so that's why the salt effect is not as spectacular as we saw earlier. But the rest of it was for me to try mixing colors and see how it works out, and they are just lovely. I love working with these watercolors. They are a keep for me. I hope you found this video informative, and see you next time.